no turn. Is this what I really sound like?
What? You don't like what you hear?
You've come this far by faith. That's what I sound like.
It's your voice.
That is awesome, man. You guys have had a chance to be in the midst of greatness.
What is up, you guys, and welcome back to No Apologies, the podcast where we give you the raw, the real, and how we feel. We are your hosts. My name is Mo.
And my name is Casey.
Let's get into it. Okay. So we're not gonna provide any spoilers. How be thou ever? We did go see Wakanda Forever, baby. I was in shackles and tears. Lord have mercy. But we are going to do a 2-part upload where we just address our usual podcast on this one, and then we will put that it is a spoiler and we are talking about the movie in general on the next upload.
Yeah, it was I got a chance to talk to a couple of my dudes about it. I didn't go into depth with it because they have not seen the movie yet. It wasn't just a good movie, but I want to make sure that we don't get lost and see the message, because it said a whole lot. I'll just say that. I'll keep it at that. That movie, it really told a full story about the people in this movie and those that weren't.
Look, I gotta give him the eye because he'll push it in and I gotta take it out.
Nah. Fake news, man. Stitch lip. I'm not gonna say nothing.
Anyway, we are moving on. So we are getting into these midterm elections. If you did not know, early voting stopped November 7th. November 8th was prime time debut of what America is moving. Democrats have taken back the House. Well, we maintained it.
Yeah, there was a lot of uneasy feelings heading into these midterms, even by the Commander-in-Chief Joe Biden himself. A lot of people felt, they were reporting based on the polling information, that it was going to be a red wave, and that not only were the Democrats going to lose the House, but they were definitely going to lose the Senate. And yeah, that's not what happened, bro. It was one of the seats that they thought was a runnable seat was the seat in the retired Pennsylvania, Senator retired Mehmet Oz. They thought that Oz had a chance against Fetterman. Yeah, that's what started the downslide there, buddy.
First of all, with this whole red wave, didn't it come off the back of Trump? Isn't he the one that said we were going to take over? Because everyone that he backed, they saw defeat.
Yeah, that's another part we can get to is 45. But it seems like, just based on the voting, that the country is at a place where they're not looking to doubt the results of the 2022 elections, and every one of the candidates that had the voter conspiracy, this thing is rigged, they all lost. And it made it hard for the Republicans to even have a candidate that could be taken seriously, because they hitched their star to their wagon to Donald Trump. So all of those candidates that came out, the election conspiracy people, and it was rigged, or some even were going as far as saying that Trump was still president. That is ridiculous.
After personally voting in the midterms, I was definitely on my pins and needles. Even though it takes a matter of days for all of the votes to be counted, everything to be put in, one thing that I don't want to say pissed me off, for lack of a better word, is Georgia. How in the ever-loving world is there a runoff between Warnock and Herschel Walker?
Yeah, that was Herschel Walker is something else, man. That's all. I mean, I don't. Herschel Walker is something else. I mean, it's okay. So let's just take the microcosm of Georgia. Stacey Abrams, who was defeated a few years ago by Governor Kemp, lost by a margin that was so small that actually triggered a recount. But this election, she was beaten handedly by Governor Kemp. And I want people to understand their politics. So even though she lost to Kemp, and Stacey Abrams was the candidate that I was backing in that race, the difference being Kemp is not some crazy conspiracist that says that the election was rigged or stolen. If you remember, this is the guy that when 45 called him, said we just need to find like 11,000 more votes. And he was like, no, there are no 11,000 votes to be found. And then he told on him.
Hey.
Yeah, this guy's trying to ring. He told on him. So she lost to the people's voice said that Governor Kemp is better than Stacey Abrams.
As begs to differ, Clifford. I think it was a bunch of robot Republicans, and not only that, because she won Fulton County, the heart of Atlanta, but it was all these outskirts, these more alabaster areas that just voted for Kemp.
Then explain the first election being so close as a runoff. So you're saying that 300,000 people, because she lost by almost 300,000 votes. It sounds like, and this happens a lot, her message did not resonate with those voters. It's somewhere down the line from the last election to this election, whatever Stacey Abrams did was wrong, because even if you tell me that half of these people didn't vote last time, that would still mean she lost by 150,000 votes. There's a swing somewhere. I don't know what the numbers say. I don't know how many people voted for Stacey Abrams the first time and then changed their mind and voted for Kemp the second time. But I do know that there had to be somewhere in Georgia for her to lose by that substantial amount that some of those people were turned off by the message. They had to be. 300,000. That's the fact that the senator's race has not been decided and is going to a runoff. That race is so close that it's going to a runoff. Neither candidate got over 50%. In the same state, the governor's race, the governor won by 300,000 votes. That's a message problem. And what that message is telling me clearly is that Herschel Walker, who is also backed by 45, those people obviously did not support Governor Kemp, because Governor Kemp was 1,000% against Donald Trump. So we can say that he lost that portion of vote, and to still beat her by that much, that's messaging.
Well, my thing is this. Remember when you were doing your mail-in ballot, I made a joke, when in doubt, vote Democrat, right? Cool. The reason why I said robot Republicans is because not only that, but I haven't looked at her stats as far as funding for this election per the last one. However, I just feel like her versatility, maybe she lost steam because Stacey Abrams was a new up-and-coming competitor with the governor's race, and they had a steam. They were hoping she was going to run for president. It may be a notoriety situation. However, I really believe that it came down to finances and probably just her going out and touching to the community like she did last time.
I'll say this, because when you say that they're just, when in doubt, vote Republican, even if that's what happened, let's say that's what happened. Why is it that it did not matter with Walker and Warnock? Because if they had enough Republicans in the same state that believed just vote Republican, because they fill out the same ballots. Yeah. It's not like there's a governor's ballot. So just solely based on that, Stacey Abrams, there's a lot more people that voted for Warnock but didn't vote for Abrams. And vice versa. There's people that voted for Kemp and didn't vote for Herschel Walker. Those numbers are too far. The disparity is too much. So that's a message. Just because you like a candidate doesn't mean that like I tell people all the time, John McCain would have been a good president, even though he's a Republican. John McCain would have been a good president. John McCain would have been a president that was for the entire United States and would have done more and would have been a much better Republican president than 45. The difference was that John McCain happened to run against Barack Obama. That's the only reason why he was never president, because he ran against Barack. If he or Mr. President, I don't want to say Barack, he ran against Barack Obama, who was president. It's just a timing thing. So there's no way Stacey Abrams' message sounded like the best thing for the governorship in Georgia, and her lose by 300,000 votes. Something happened there, and I'm not on the ground, but I know that if it wasn't for Stacey Abrams' first run at the governorship, I don't know that we have two black men in the state of Georgia, regardless of their party affiliation. There's going to be a black senator out of the state of Georgia.
Well, we'll just leave that there. Moving on, one thing that I did want to talk about that I found extremely interesting was political pay. So one thing about it, the way that our system, our hierarchy, I guess you would call it, is broken down for our government is that the Senate and the governor are both the voices of the people, right? My thing is, why aren't they being paid the base rate for the people of each state? Because I think not only are they being paid top dollar just to be faces and representation in the White House, but they also receive a pension, and then they receive the that same status pay throughout the rest of their life.
Yeah, but it's questions like that make people say that the government is crooked. That's why people say that. That they say it's a complete ripoff. This is why they say that. I mean, so the money portion of it, a civil servant should want to help the people, right? No matter who the civil servant is. It doesn't matter whether it's an alderman, a mayor, congressman, state senator, United States senator. It doesn't matter. That's what their job should be. They should be concerned with the people. That's how our system got broken, because they're not concerned with the people; they're concerned with the money. So it has absolutely nothing to do with the people. Like they don't care. If they cared about the people, they would always do the best thing for their state, and that doesn't always happen.
Well, that's why I say change the tax bracket. For one, because everything is so digital, we really don't need the Senate, because you can easily send out to the masses. I mean, just like how everybody made a date to go in and vote. If you did vote, why won't that work every month?
Yeah, but I mean, because there's different things. Well, because there's different things that they're doing. Like you're right. Our vote is, they could call in and vote, but you have to understand that when it comes to the way Congress works, like I'm only a bill. Yeah, okay. Somebody's got to write that bill, and in order to once you write that bill, then this is where the can you work across the aisle thing comes into play. You write a bill, and then on the other side, they've written a bill, and you guys are talking together like, hey, listen, I know 5 of my guys that'll vote on this, but listen, I'm gonna need 5 of your guys to vote on this. Well, let me see what this is about, and then they take that and they're reading through it, and then they go and lobby. That's what the lobbies do, and then people start throwing money at it. That's just the system that we have. There's no way to change that.
That doesn't mean it works. That does not mean it works.
Well, it hasn't always been broken. Okay. So see what you're saying is that a broken system is what our system is founded on, and I agree with that. That is the system's broken, but there was things that had to get through, and this is the way we got them through. Whether it be Brown versus education, the voting rights of 76, or the women's voting rights, like all these things had to be written and lobbied.
And that's the same system that overturned Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
But my biggest concern is for the fact that just about everyone in there is old enough to be a great grandparent. I feel like if they're making new bills and they can come up and go across the aisle and all of that, then why can't they just rewrite the entire job description.
Yeah. But see, that's what I'm telling you. See, you said that's the same system that overturned Roe v. Wade.
They also put it in place.
That's the same system that put Roe v. Wade in place. So you're talking about what you're asking for is, of course, the smartest thing, but you're asking them to rewrite the government. I'm a firm believer in the rewriting of the Constitution because the Constitution is written in different times, but you're asking them to change how we've governed. Like we don't have another example. Like if we did, things like the Bernie Sanders agenda will be pushed through, right? Like free education, free healthcare. It will look more like Canada because that will make more sense.
Why can't we use that as the blueprint then?
Because we're not Canadians. No, listen, and I don't say that in jest. I mean, this is, I can't think of what the joke was. No, seriously, because this was the truth. Like Dave Chappelle told a joke where if we get into it with Russia, we're fighting all of the Russians. But if Russia gets into it with a black man, is he fighting all of America? See, that's what. Or if Russia gets into it with a Mexican, is he fighting all of America? He fighting the America. So that's the difference because it goes back to like this being such a big melting pot to where we still have separation versus I'm just an American or that's just an American. It's a Mexican American, an Irish American, a Chinese American, an African American versus those are Russians. That's it. Those are Russians. You're into it with the Russians. Right, not Afro-Russian. Even the black Russians that are in the Russian military are Russians, not Afro-Russians. Latino Russians. They just Russians. Yeah. That's the problem.
The unity.
Lack
of unity in the United States.
In a place that is called United, we are separated from the very beginning, Republican and Democrat.
I mean, United Airlines makes you pay for your bag separately too. So
I'm
just saying. But the whole reason I brought that up is because growing as I get older, I am putting my nose further into the out because America is a business. I'm putting my nose more into the business of America. Some places are like, thank you for the economy lesson, Mr. Benefield. But certain places need more attention than others. And I really feel like if you're going to be a voice of the people, you need to understand what the person of the lowest standpoint in your state feels like. Because a lot of them don't even, gas price is high because everyone just about has a car. But what about the person that's trying to afford eggs that went up to $3.75?
I can give you the best example of what you're asking for in our government and how it works and how it doesn't work. The reason that Hillary Clinton was not the first female president is because the blue collar workers did not in any way, shape, or form identify with her or feel that she identified with them. They literally believe that a billionaire, or says he's a billionaire, that 45 was their guy. See, and the only way you can win Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, the only way you can win these states, these blue collar factory workers, Pennsylvania, coal miners, the real the so-called quote unquote backbone of the country. The only way that you can win that vote is those people identify and believe in you. This is why I don't remember what the number was. You couldn't get to the White House without winning Ohio. That just couldn't happen because you win Ohio, then you have Michigan, and usually the bricks fall. That's how people knew that Hillary was in a world of trouble come to the end of her term. Her husband told her, you need to go to Michigan. Barack Obama said, you need to go to Michigan. She's like, I don't have to go to Michigan. Barack Obama himself went to Michigan to campaign for her. That wasn't enough because the blue-collar workers looked and said, we believe in you and believe that you believe in us. We're not sold about her. Why didn't she show up and say this? And when she lost Michigan, she lost Ohio, she had no chance of getting into the White House. That's just a fact. So what you're saying is the truth. The people should be able to identify with their candidate. But the reason the system works, because when you get further away from those people, they don't vote for you. Dr. Oz was from Jersey. Time he was running for Senate seat in Pennsylvania. It's not going to work. There's too many ways for voters to be educated on who their candidates are. That's why the day of I'm just going to vote Republican or I'm just going to vote Democrat. If we've seen nothing else, we've seen in the state of Georgia that people are not voting like that.
Well, explain Herschel Walker.
That's the answer. Okay.
No, they listen. Identify with him or his alma mater? Or?
No. Okay, first of all, he's from Georgia, and they showed an exit poll with all the talk about him saying that he paid for abortions, this, that, and other. Oh, the bad air comment. I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna give the bad air comment any air because that is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. But when all the stuff came out about the abortions and his children were telling me he had abortions and he was a woman, whatever was said, if it wasn't for the early vote, we'll know come this runoff December 6th. Maybe those people had already voted because I don't know how early mail-in vote started in Georgia, but maybe they already voted beforehand. But make no mistake about it, he's backed by the 45. Those people, they believe. Now, what does that really say? Because 45 lost Georgia in the general. So what does that really say? I mean, it's more Georgia and Arizona are more purple states than red states. Like that's just when the days of John McCain and the Republican Party just controlling Arizona and the same thing going on in Georgia, those days are over because people are voting for the constituents. The constituents now are looking and saying, "Is this the best candidate for me?" And that's like how Oprah supported Barack Obama and supported George W. Bush. She also did not support Mehmet Oz, and it drew a lot of backlash, like from lames like Kid Rock, and Kid Rock is now into it with Joy Boehner of the View because of his comments about Oprah Winfrey not supporting. Just because Oprah Winfrey's your friend, does that mean Oprah Winfrey is so supports your politics? Because clearly she didn't support Mehmet Oz's politics. And her voice meant a lot because when she did this, it not only upset the Republicans, but it gave a boost to Fetterman. And like I told you, do your own research on Fetterman. When he was mayor, he chased a black dude around with a shotgun. That happened. So do your research him. But the state of Pennsylvania said the best thing for us is Fetterman.
Yeah. I mean, it was just two of the lesser evils with that. But bouncing back to 45, snitches get stitches. 45 has officially released a statement saying that he helped DeSantis open an investigation through the FBI against Andrew Gillum, yeah. Regarding that first election that went through. And now DeSantis is under investigation.
Okay, so let's caveat. Did you look up and they said he was under investigation, or?
Well, they're having court hearings now regarding.
Okay. So let me say this. So the support for 45, even from I mean people that support him through it all, January 6th, everything. Candace Owens, Rupert Murdoch, the newspaper mogul. They put Trumpty Dumpty on there. They have basically cut ties with him, and they're declaring DeSantis as, you know, this is the guy that's going to beat Joe Biden. This is how we get back in power. This is how we show what a true conservative is. We get away from the nonsense and we just get back to governing. Well, 45 just basically told everybody that when DeSantis was running for governor against Andrew Gillum, 45 said that he told the FBI to open up an investigation, and they indicted. Like this is the important part. It doesn't matter. It's like with Hillary Clinton emails. So Yahoo is reporting that Andrew Gillum's legal team demands a court hearing citing Donald Trump with his rant that he made on Ron DeSantis. Former President Donald Trump post-election screen labeled Florida's governor Ron DeSantimonious didn't go unnoticed by Andrew Gillum or his Miami lawyers. And they made a joke about it on Saturday Night Live because the guy that's playing Donald Trump said, "You didn't know I know that word." the Sentinel. The Sentinel, that was very funny. But the so now it doesn't matter. Let's say that there was nothing done by the FBI and they just got a hot tip and it wasn't 45 to point them in direction. Let's say all that happened. But as soon as we get ready for the 2024 election, please believe that this is going to be just something else that is going to tear down the Republicans' nominee.
In CNN Politics, the headline: Trump showing no evidence calls Andrew Gillum a thief. President Donald Trump launched what opponents decried as a racially loaded attack Monday on Florida Democrat candidate Andrew. This was, of course, back in 2018. Labeling him a thief without evidence and claiming that as mayor of Tallahassee, he oversees one of the country's most corrupt cities. Now, as we all know, Trump is historic for pointing the finger without evidence. Oh, he hit me, but you guys were in two different states type of situation. But the thing is, he's trying to take a hit at DeSantis simply because he wants to run in 2024 and believes that this is going to be hard if Ron runs for presidency. However, if he gets an indictment with the FBI, he will no longer be eligible for that position.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's not about the indictment. When you make a statement that at a lower level in government that somebody can be bought and paid for or use power or just be corrupt. This is what happened when they released right before Hillary Clinton that she was going to there's an investigation with the emails. So
where's the emails?
Yeah, so, but listen, that was enough to and it came at a point where there's an unwritten law that you don't even announce investigations at a certain time in a presidential campaign. There's an unwritten law. Seriously. I'll look it up. I don't know what, but there was a lot of people mad because regardless of whether Hillary Clinton was going to be investigated or not, it should not have been said that close in a presidential election. So this is what 45 is getting ready to do. It is going to be really interesting to see what the Republican Party do because they did not take light the comments that 45 made about DeSantis. And if you remember, he had started this conversation a couple of weeks ago saying he was going to tell something very, 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 very embarrassing about DeSantis. I have something very, very bad.
Very, very bad. But moving on, we dipped our toes into this last week. But Kanye, more information keeps pouring out of this man's mouth. Things that he said in the past are being brought back up. And honestly, it's just messy. And not only that, but from a spiritual, faith-based standpoint, what can you do? Because a lot of, I want to say us's, as far as my skin folk, have for some reason, reasonable doubt that it's all just a mental situation and that he's just acting out.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys I don't know if this is going to be the last time that I have to cover this or say this because I've said a few things on Facebook, but I will say this: if you have not seen the last Ye or Kanye West interview, Kanye West says out of his mouth, this is not me paraphrasing. He says, "My mother was a sacrifice." I'll name anybody. They can't silence me, but they can silence LeBron James. They can silence Michael Jordan. He said Michael Jordan sacrificed his dad, and he said Bill Cosby sacrificed his son. So my question to you is, for anybody that is still defending Kanye West or blaming Kanye West's behavior on his mental illness, because if you're saying that Kanye West is mentally ill, my response to that is, yeah, you would have to be mentally ill to sell your soul for fortune and fame and to sacrifice your mother. Because if he's saying that his mother was sacrificed, the only person could have sacrificed her. He didn't say my mother was murdered. He didn't say my mother died on the operating table. What he said was my mother was a sacrifice. And words really mean something, people. Words have power, but words definitely have meaning. He said my mother was a sacrifice. Not my mother was killed, not my mother died, not my mother passed away. He said my mother was a sacrifice. And then the next thing out of his mouth is he accuses Michael Jordan of sacrificing his father and accuses Bill Cosby of sacrificing his son, and then accuses Beyonce and Jay-Z. One thing I've come to know that my father taught me was show me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. I know that devil worship exists. I know that they have people that are Satanists. I don't know any personally. Kanye West knows a whole lot of people that sacrifice human beings, according to him. According to him. So if you know people who sacrifice people, and then you tell me that your mother was a sacrifice, you sacrificed her. So Tupac made a song celebrating his mother, and Kanye West went crazy for sacrificing his mother. Why do you expect me to have any sympathy or empathy for this man when this is what he did? He said that my music career means more to me than my mother, and he turned his back on God and killed his mother. Cool. Don't tell me I should be praying for Kanye West. I got much, much, much more important things that I can use in my time speaking to God. If I'm going to say a prayer, I can pray that God helps my fantasy league team because we're in second place right now. I can pray that the Lakers get a shooting guard because we look terrible. I can pray that USC's defense can actually stop a nosebleed because they look awful. Why am I wasting my prayers with Kanye West and his soul when he didn't care anything about it? That doesn't make sense to me. So listen, stop coming on my Facebook page telling me that I should pray for Kanye West.
Not only that, but not trying to be a Bible thumper at all. But there are scriptures where it says, do not associate with non-believers. And then just coming from a spiritual standpoint, you're supposed to honor your mother and father. And for him to say he sacrificed her for whatever is supposed to be reward or prize is literally driving him bonkers. And I don't understand that. And like I said in the first podcast, I feel bad for his children, not him. His children did not ask to be here. No child has asked to be here. Yet you brought this child in the world, regardless if you were a billionaire, millionaire, thousandaire, hundredaire. You are supposed to protect your children, and yet you're the one causing the most harm.
Yeah, like I got into a debate with one of my brothers. He said that, we're not Kanye's reason for saying the White Lives Matter shirts was important to him was because his children were white. I am completely confused how that could happen when. Well, I'm not gonna get. Here's my take on Kanye West. My final take, because unless wifey brings him up, I'm not gonna discuss him anymore. My point and my feelings on Kanye West are clear. Kanye West, stating that his mother was a sacrifice, or said that slavery was a choice. Or said that George Floyd overdosed, that shave his knee wasn't even on his neck. Those were enough for me to not care about anything that happens in the life of Kanye West because he made it proof positive he didn't care about my life. So I don't have any for him to make light of the Black Lives Matter, that name, whether you agree with their politics or not, because they told me, oh well, Kanye West actually gave the Floyd family $2 million. That's fine. That's cool. Appreciate that. You paid for the schooling for George Floyd's daughter, right? And then the next thing that you do is desecrate her father's memory by saying he was a drug addict that overdosed.
My thing is, quit praising him for this $2 million because, like he keeps boasting, he was a billionaire. So $2 million really wasn't hurting his pockets to begin with, and it went to her college tuition, which is going to some administrative board. But secondly, Barbra Streisand bought stock in Disney, regardless of who it is run by. These stocks are in her name, so she reaps the benefit personally. It's not circulating back into the economy. This is actually building her personal generational wealth. Now, that is a business move. Just throwing $2 million at a girl who just lost her father and then dragging his name through the mud and saying that he died from a drug habit? Come on now. And then the fact is he is a girl dad. That's what sucks the most. But we're going to talk about what Shannon Sharpe had to say. He made a valid point that as Black people, we carry the burden of accountability at a much harsher rate than any other ethnic group. Like Trump, he can say, what about the emails? Or he could say, that's a thief. And they launch an investigation. and Kyrie Irving and Kanye say what they want to say, and it just goes to the point where it's turning into an apology note. Kanye's doing this whole "I turn to God" situation, even though I don't believe in that either. But it has to be a public apology, bowed on bended knee, having to kiss somebody's ring in order for them to get back in good graces with the world. However, it does show how the black dollar moves. Hebrew to Negro. If you just type in HEB on Amazon, Hebrew to Negro pops up, and it is the #1 bestseller in paperback, book, and movie. The book has over 1,710 buyers, and the movie has 1,729. I am not promoting this, but it just shows how the black dollar moves. Do I know the numbers before he spoke on it? No. But for it to be #1 bestseller, that means people are listening.
Well, see, that's okay. You said a lot there, so let me unpack. Okay, so it's not, and I want to be clear. It's not the punishment that's the problem. Because another thing Shannon Sharpe said was that Kyrie and Kanye were both wrong. That's what he said. They were both wrong. What he is saying though is that, and this I think is falling on a lot of black people, like deaf on their ears because they're not hearing it. What a black person says carries more weight. So if you got to take it carrying more weight positively, you got to understand that it has the same weight negatively. When all of the rappers was riding around in Hummers in their video, the price of Hummers was like $106,000 to get an H1. It was $100,000, and the price of the Escalade was like $30,000. And Jay-Z went to Hummer and was like, "Hey, we're riding around you guys, Hummers in our videos because Wangster was out. Almost every video had a Hummer in it, had a Humvee in it because that's what was really popping, and it was popping because it wasn't like Hummer had just come out. It wasn't like it was a Tesla, like the first. Yeah. This Hummer had been out, but we put it out there. It was like giving it a free commercial. Well, Hummer told Jay-Z they weren't going to pay him for riding around the videos, and Jay-Z went to Escalade, the Cadillac, and all made the same deal. And the next thing you hear is Cadillac Escalade stock went from $30,000 to $115,000. Ludacris came out with the Cadillac, spill my Cadillac, all that. Mm-hmm. Like that. That's the power that is in the black voice. Yeah, that's the power. So when a black person does say something that is damaging as what they said, that of course it's going to be scrutinized more. That's got to happen because if they can promote something, that means they can destroy something.
I will never forget when Tank said, if you don't like doing this, then it might be the person. And everyone thought he was a homosexual after that. I mean, it's what he said. It came out his mouth. What? Can't say that either? I don't even know what that has. No, it's just saying how damaging things are. Okay, I'll take it out. Don't worry about it.
I mean, maybe we were talking about the power of. You could have talked about Beyonce's clothing. You know. No, listen. That's what I'm saying.
You said something being damaging.
That's what I'm saying. So when black people said they weren't going to wear, you could have. How damaging that was.
No,
that was the end.
First of all,
okay. What about FUBU? FUBU sold it to white people, and black people quit wearing it. The end.
That's not something we said. That's something we did.
No, that is something we said because we said FUBU's not cool no more. That is exactly what we said.
It's no longer black owned.
So it no longer means what it's not for us by somebody, and that was the end of it. That was the end of it. There was nothing else they could do.
But that was a business decision.
Okay, leave it in.
I'm gonna take it out.
Okay, listen. Jay-Z talking about that was a business decision. He went to Harmon to get money. They told him no. He went to Cadillac to get money. They told him yeah. Business decision. Nobody. Air Force One's got a full-fledged reboot because Nelly said,
Stepping in my Air Force One.
and you know the difference? Nike did not change the price. Phil Knight.
You gotta respect that.
But that's what I'm saying though. But my thing is because Phil Knight understands we're the ones who said that. Like the power of our voice, we said that. Mm-hmm. We said this is cool, that's not cool. Whether it spawned from one person agreeing that, we as a people said that's what it is. Whether it be the Dunks in the South, the Lolos in the West, we said that.
What's the Lolo?
A lowrider. But that's okay. That's not a lowrider.
And going to our social media source, like I said, we were going to start taking things from different social media outlets as far as topics to discuss. And one post said, I despise being called a strong woman. I am definitely not strong. I just have a variety of ways I release negative energy. It resonated with me personally because I've always been considered a strong woman. And I've always had to push and prevail because I was the one that other people depended on. And it does get exhausting and it does turn into negative energy. But one thing that I have learned is to not only just lean on other people, because it really took a lot of breaking down to humble myself to ask for help, but also to understand that the reason why I feel like it's negative energy is because I'm not looking at it in the right way. I'm considered strong because I can prevail, not because the load is too heavy.
See, I think that you, excuse me, I'll eat some chips. You or whoever put that post up, I think you guys are getting strong woman and bitter woman confused. A person is known by their strength, by what they're able to get over. I posted something today said, what was it? Oh, excuse me, the top of the mountain that you climb to is the bottom of the next mountain you have to keep climbing. So a woman having strength, and strength comes in so many different forms. So a woman having strength, I don't get the correlation between strength and negative energy. Because a woman being strong, I don't know how, maybe that's the part that I need you to elaborate on. I've seen you frustrated with a situation, but I would never categorize that as because I got a strong wife that she's exhibiting negative energy. So that's what I need you to elaborate on because I don't understand. I don't see this negative energy.
Well, the thing about it is the negative energy comes from the pressure. Like I said, I've always been that person to call on, hey, let me get $10, or hey, I need a vent to you, or hey, can you pray for me type of person. And being a strong woman is, I want to say for the culture, that being a strong woman also constitutes financial, emotional, spiritual, mental stability. And who can you be unstable with when you're constantly being the boulder for so many other people?
See, that's my point. So I agree with everything you said. I agree that every aspect of a quote unquote strong woman is not just being somebody you can talk to, somebody you can talk with, somebody that can just listen, somebody that can help you, somebody that can give you not just a positive word, but a positive outlook, and even help you create a positive plan. That's what I see a strong woman as. My thing is, where in that, you dropped your passy, it wasn't me. Where in that does that come from? That it's negative energy because of a lack of understanding, or sometimes you just don't have it. Like, if a person calls me and says, "Hey, can I borrow this amount of money?" and I have it, of course I can give it to them. But if a person calls me and says, "I need this amount of money," I don't have it. That doesn't change me not having it and me being frustrated that I couldn't help somebody that I love. That doesn't change my strength, and I don't see that as negative energy. I see me being upset because I couldn't help, but I wouldn't categorize that as a strong woman having negative energy. I would say it's more or less a frustration because she couldn't do something she's always used to doing. It's almost like a basketball player. When you're used to taking the final shot and making it, the time that you take that final shot and miss it, it's still going to hurt and it's still going to feel negatively, but that doesn't change who you are because you still, the champions are willing to take the shot.
Well, the reason why I said it's for the culture, because even with the black men aren't supposed to cry. Black men aren't supposed to show emotion. They're always, like, even today with our conversation earlier, are supposed to be the leaders, providers, are supposed to be the strong towers. But when certain men don't have a helpmate or an escape or someone just to talk to, even though, and I express this a lot when it comes to mental health, you can pray all day and talk to God, but for some reason, talking to another person, whether it be your therapist, someone you confide in, someone you can trust and be your true self with, it's a different type of release. And you can leave it in the comments how you feel about that as you wish. But when it comes to being a black individual and having to be the strong person, because there's some people that never have to be strong for anyone else, and there's some people that never go through trials and tribulations as well. But also coming from you as a black man, before you had a helpmate, before you had someone you could talk to, you never felt overbeared with people, with other people's frustrations to the point where it turned negative for you.
See, that's the thing. There's the what you're saying is that this is the cocoa bean, the egg, and the noodle. I don't know if our viewers are familiar with that, but I always tell, and I'm teaching this one here, that he's a cocoa bean. The world's civilization is like a melting pot, hot water. If you put a noodle, because some people are noodles, some people are eggs, some people are cocoa beans. You put a noodle in hot water, it goes in hard and it comes out soft. You put an egg in the water, it goes in soft and it comes out hard boiled. But you put a cocoa bean in the water, the cocoa bean goes into the water and changes the water. So I'm under the guise, and what I'm going to teach my son is that you have to go into the world and change the world. You can't let the world change you. So yes, there's been times when I felt like there was a lot on me that wasn't mine. There was a lot on me that belonged to a lot of other people. It wasn't my stuff. However, I didn't feel it was a negative because it was more or less a driving force to let me say, like, you know what, I can't fail because I've got I'm the one, I'm the backup. I'm the one they call. Like when things go bad, I'm the backup. Like I don't have anybody else to call. Like it's me. And just doubling back on something you said about like how men are supposed to be viewed like they're not supposed to cry, not supposed to show emotions, and another, or that's not what's seen as being strong, this and another. That's other people hangups. I don't believe that another man should tell a man or anybody else like what is strong and what is not. Because what may be strong for you may not be strong for somebody else. Yeah, like success. So you can't tell me what you deem to be successful and me to be deemed successful because it's a different animal. We're not the same. So the same thing comes with strength. Well, if you see a man crying and you assume that man is weak, and then he does something that would exhibit you were completely wrong, that's on you. That's on you. Like you should never ever think that you know somebody because the human being is the only thing that's forever changing.
And one thing you said that really resonated with me, and I want to call people out on this one, is what I consider strength and what you consider strength are two different animals. Do not say somebody isn't doing enough because you're not in their shoes.
That's what I'm saying. The same thing about strength.
I'm going to say it again. Do not tell somebody or think of someone as not doing enough because you're not in their shoes. You don't know their mental capacity, their emotional strengths, their emotional downfalls. You don't know. So if anything, if someone comes to you and say, hey, I'm having a hard time, or if you see they're down, if they want to talk about it, cool. If not, fine. But who are you to place judgment on if they're doing enough, and how is that enough going to benefit you?
Yeah, my whole thing is standing from on the outside looking in, you should be very, very careful about like what you think you see. Like there's always layers to things that goes on in your life, so you got to understand that there has to be layers of what's going on in others' lives.
Yep, and that's really just about all I have right now. And I really enjoy conversations like that because a lot of us have the tendency to step on others' toes or say the wrong thing in regards to mental and emotional support. And then in the Black community, I know in the Southern Baptist community in which I grew up, everyone's like, pray about it, pray about it. But the thing about mental health is that as humans, we need human interaction, and unleashing how you feel to someone is the most riveting thing. I've been to therapy. I have a helpmate, and that's why I asked about his pressure, because sometimes I feel like I can be a bit much. But who am I to define what's too much and what's not enough to someone?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing that I'm constantly telling people, because, like you say, they say pray about it, but this is the problem, not just in the Black community, but the problem with mental illness. So people are looking at mental illness as if it's not an ailment of the body. So if you broke your leg, you would pray about it, but you would go to the doctor to seek treatment. And if that treatment required surgery, pins, cast, whatever the surgery was, you would pray about it, but you would still take the advice of the doctor. So if something is wrong with your brain or the way you think, it is absolutely no different. You should pray about it, but you should also seek treatment and be responsible enough to, if you don't like what a doctor says, that's why it's called a second opinion. So it shouldn't matter if you get a second opinion, no matter what the ailment is. So if it's a broken arm, if it's cancer, if you're able to go to the doctor for something that you believe that you can see wrong, which is physical, because an x-ray machine has to help you see a broken bone. If you have mental illness, whether man or female, black, white, or brown, you should be able to go to a doctor and seek treatment, pray about the treatment. If the treatment feels like it's not working, seek another opinion. But ignoring mental illness and hanging it on prayer seems silly to me.
Or hanging it on strength, like and I have that because I have migraines, and I'll be like, well, I'm gonna just ride it out. And when it comes to a mental thing, because negative energy is conceptualized in the mind and moves to the heart. That's how you harden your heart, is by harvesting so much negative energy. And that's why mental health is so important, because even when it comes to aligning yourself, meditation is important, whether you're in your prayer closet or if you're in your house or just somewhere peaceful. And when it came to being a strong woman, that's why it was so powerful for me, because you are a strong woman in your own rights. And sometimes it's okay to be vulnerable, whether it's to yourself, to a stranger, even to God. But make sure when it gets too heavy and it gets to that unaliving point or that boiling point where you want to hurt somebody else, that you seek help.
Yeah, it's the truth of the matter is, mental illness is definitely. Oh, you okay, little man? You okay? Okay. Mental illness is definitely real, and we have got to start not just acknowledging it, but we need to start treating it, and we need to start checking in on each other. We need to make sure, like, hey, we can get on here and comment about celebrities that we don't know, and spend time sending comments, responding to them, and never even pick that same phone up and send a text and ask somebody, "Hey, how you doing?" Because we have to hold each other accountable, but we also have to be there for each other in times of need. That's what makes family. Blood makes you related, but family is what makes you loyal.
Yeah, and accountability goes to answering that phone as well. If someone's checking in on you, even if you don't want to talk to them, shoot them a text. And I'm learning how to get better on that. But that's all we've got today. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
And remember, you said what you said, so stand on it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, my name is Mo.
And my name is Casey.
And this is No Apologies, the podcast. You guys have a good one.